Welcome back to The Explainer. For the last 2 decades, the football world hasn't just been entertained, it's been completely divided. You belong to one camp or the other, right? We've all been witnessing a story that totally transcends the sport itself. Between the two of them, they hold 13 Ballon d'Ors and have scored over 1,700 career goals. We are talking, of course, about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But, like all great sweeping epics, the final chapter is literally unfolding right before our eyes. We're witnessing the twilight of a rivalry that absolutely defined an entire generation. So get comfortable as we map out the final epic of these two monumental figures.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we have to remember this wasn't just a standard sporting rivalry. It was a true 20-year cosmic event. Think about two massive celestial bodies caught in each other's gravitational pull. For 20 years, they didn't just quietly coexist. They actively shaped one another. When one pushed the boundary of what was considered humanly possible on a football pitch, the other responded. Every single goal, every trophy lifted, every impossible record broken, it was a direct, undeniable response to the other. They pushed each other to unimaginable heights, and in the process, they completely transformed the landscape of global football.
Section 1, the final pitch reunion, the 2023 Goodbye Tour. Let's track how this all built up across a pretty fascinating timeline. It begins back in the early 2000s, where these two prodigious talents first burst onto the scene and the rivalry really began to take root. Then we leap forward to January 2023, which is a massive focal point we'll break down in just a second, that incredible PSG versus Riyadh All-Stars match. And finally, looking just over the horizon to the summer of 2026, we have the final World Cup curtains. This timeline isn't just about the passage of time. It represents the arc of an entire footballing epoch. It takes us from their fiery, competitive peaks all the way to the poignant, sobering reality of their impending exit from the global stage. And this brilliantly illustrates the emotional weight of that pivotal midpoint in January 2023. Paris Saint-Germain taking on the Riyadh All-Stars. Sure, on paper it was billed as an exhibition, just a friendly match. But if you actually watched it, you know it carried so much more weight. It really felt like a goodbye tour. Both players did exactly what they've done for 20 years. They competed relentlessly. Messi scored within the first 3 minutes, setting the tone right away. And Ronaldo battled so hard, he literally walked away with a bruised cheek from a mid-air collision. They both scored and they embraced, showing this deep, mutual respect forged over thousands of grueling minutes of competition. For those 90 minutes, the entire world essentially stood still. It was the final time the two absolute gods of the game crossed paths on the field of play.
Moving on to Section 2, the 2026 World Cup curtains, parallel milestones and unmatched longevity.
So the crucial point here is 200. I just want you to pause for a second and let the sheer gravity of that statistic sink in. We're now in the build-up to 2026, and both of these legends are closing out their final World Cup curtains, having reached the staggering milestone of 200 international appearances. 200 caps for their respective countries. That isn't just a number. It is a monumental testament to physical endurance, mental fortitude, and an unmatched longevity that we, as football fans, might genuinely never see again in our lifetimes. To stay at the absolute pinnacle of the world's most demanding sport for that long is simply unprecedented. Now, what's really interesting to look at here is how the narrative around these two has completely shifted. It's no longer this fiery debate about who is better. Instead, it's become a fascinating study of survival. Look at Messi. He is fundamentally redefining playmaking in the twilight of his career. He's using his unparalleled vision and passing accuracy to dictate the game's tempo, rather than just relying purely on speed. Meanwhile, Ronaldo remains the ultimate physical phenomenon. He's continually pushing the limits of the human body and chasing his legacy in the Saudi Pro League, where his goal-scoring instincts are still just razor sharp. It's two completely different paths, but both are showcasing an absolute refusal to simply fade away. All right, Section 3, a legacy beyond the pitch, the intertwined journeys. For years, the old narrative was completely consumed by tribal warfare, everyone trying to declare a definitive winner. But today, that tension has completely dissolved into a new reality of collective appreciation. As we watch the approach to the 2026 World Cup, we're highly aware that we aren't just watching a standard sporting tournament. We're bearing witness to the closing of football's greatest epoch. Their journeys, despite the geographic distance between them today, are still entirely intertwined in the minds of everyone watching. And honestly, that brings up a rather haunting existential realization. The question driving the football world today isn't about who won the rivalry anymore. It's this: are we actually ready for a world of football without them? For an entire generation of fans, a footballing landscape completely devoid of Messi and Ronaldo is entirely unknown territory. It's a really profound thought to sit with as we watch these final, incredible moments play out on the international stage. So will a universe somehow align to give us one last miracle matchup before they hang up their boots for good? I guess only time will tell. Drop a comment below and let us know how you're processing the end of this era, and make sure to subscribe and join us next time for more of our 2026 World Cup Explainer updates.